Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to give you a quick update this evening. This is the Mount Pleasant Waterworks Tropical Update on Hurricane Irma. It is Wednesday, September 6th. Currently, it's about 5:45 p.m. as I am recording this. So the 5 p.m. position and forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. Here's the position of the storm. Here is the forecast track updated as of 5 p.m. Not a lot of changes. Still pretty consistent up through Florida. The track has shifted slightly back to the west or to the left, making a little more impact with Florida than previous. And those little shifts are very normal and will probably continue through the next several days. So not surprising to see that, but that definitely brings more of an impact to Florida than previous forecast. Comes off the coast of Florida, back out over the water, moving generally north, which is consistent. The other change in this particular forecast is near the end, at the end of the 5-day forecast period. There's a little bit of a leftward steering here, which kind of puts Georgia and Beaufort, lower South Carolina, more in the hairs than further up the coast where we were looking earlier today. So, but again, that's just one forecast. Although the models are kind of trending that way right now, we just have to wait and see what tonight brings and tomorrow brings and continue to watch this day by day. This is just the current. The models are in fairly good agreement on this track at the moment, and this slightly westward turn toward the end, taking some of South Carolina at least out of the worst of the impacts if this forecast holds true. So I wanted to look at the hurricane models. So here are the latest tracks. There should be some new ones coming out before much longer this evening, but you can see a little bit of shift here back to the left or to the west. Pretty good agreement. The models are clustered pretty tightly. Then you get coming off, and then you can see several of the models with this little curve at the end tending to bend to the left or to the west. So that's the current thinking. Pretty good agreement on all of the hurricane models, which for the moment makes this, at least there's not so much uncertainty, not more than there normally is anyway. This still can change, and it probably will change from run to run. So again, as always, we're looking for long-term trends and patterns more than anything else, but that's the current model forecast. Next thing I wanted to look at is the timing. So this arrival time graphic from the National Hurricane Center shows Sunday 8 p.m. tropical storm force winds approximately in this area. So if you kind of stretch that out a little bit, that puts Charleston in late Sunday night, more likely early Monday morning, when tropical storm force winds could potentially be reaching the Charleston area. So that's kind of what we're looking at as far as timing at the moment. And then I wanted to look at the two global models real quick, the latest versions of these global models. So this is the American GFS model, starting at 8 p.m. Friday night forecast position, and then we'll move forward. So pretty consistent. The GFS doesn't quite engage Florida as much as some of the hurricane models and the European do currently. So it's a close call, kind of a strafe there for southeast Florida. And then it kind of hugs the Florida coastline a little bit. And here you can see just before landfall, right at the South Carolina-Georgia line. And then moving onshore from there, moving up through Greenville, Spartanburg-ish area. So that's the GFS. Here's the European starting at the same time, 8 p.m. Friday forecast position here, which is dead on with the GFS, by the way. They're right on top of each other. And this model jumps in 24-hour increments, so it's pretty big jumps on here. But you can see that it's headed for the actual tip of Peninsula Florida in this direction and comes across like basically like the National Hurricane Center's forecast track is very much in line with this. Comes back offshore, and then it's a little harder to follow because it's such a big jump there. But from this position to 24 hours later being here, if you kind of extrapolate that, it's the same thing. It's generally in the Savannah area is where the European is thinking landfall is. GFS was in basically the same area. Most of the hurricane models are kind of in the same area. So for right now, there is agreement in the models on that thinking. Doesn't mean it won't change, and it probably will, which is just the part of the game of playing with hurricanes. So that's it for tonight. Stay safe, and I will update again tomorrow.